Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your August 2025 tarot card reading. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jane. We already had a card pull out for you. It fell out as I was shuffling, kind of getting ready for the reading. So we're going to go ahead and start with that, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So for Sagittarius for August 2025, what else do you need to know? So Sagittarius for August 2025. We have Two of Swords, Ten of Coins, Ten of Swords, and Seven of Cups. Okay. So I'm seeing a pretty significant clarity of vision coming through, all right, which is the Ten of Coins, right here. Right, where the Ten of Coins represents kind of the dream life. It represents everything you would have on your vision board, everything that you are hoping to manifest within the next several years, and the results that you are genuinely seeking to attain, right? That you're set, you have your eyes set on something real and tangible, right? That this is not just an idea or some fantasy, but you actually want to have these things. And I don't really see all that much resistance in that notion, because I know sometimes as we're growing, as we're healing, we have an idea of what we want, but we can really struggle with truly allowing ourselves to admit that yes, we want it. It's we want it, but we kind of fight against it at the same time, or we come up with a lot of reasons why we can't have it, or why now's not a good time, or whatever it is that we do as human beings, right? But I don't really see that kind of resistance for Sagittarius right now. I see that you have a goal, and in your mind it's really there really isn't anything working against you. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have circumstances that might get more challenging to attain this, but I don't know that you're going to see that as a reason why it's impossible, right? I definitely feel like you have a strong sense of possibility here. And I think you can also tell that kind of the tides are turning a little bit. Now, one thing that happened, within the past couple of months, really, we had Jupiter come into Cancer. So your ruling planet went from being in detriment to now being exalted in Cancer, right? Because it was in Gemini, which is not the best place for Jupiter to be. And then it moves into one of its best signs. So that was a transition. And then we also had Uranus come into Gemini, right? At the beginning of July. So that kind of is now shining its light on you, Sagittarius, as well. And so I think that with these two things specifically, not to mention the Saturn-Neptune conjunction and the Pluto thing, but those two things specifically, I think kind of lighten the load for Sagittarius a little bit. And it kind of opens the channels a little bit more or a little bit better. I don't know that we're seeing resistance here, mentally or in terms of circumstances, really. Okay, but I do see with the Two of Swords that you are put in a position here to make some very real decisions, and that there are pathways in front of you that you have to consider carefully. That this is something that you have to kind of go inside yourself and really follow your intuition here. This does not seem like an intellectual pursuit. This is not something that you can just rationalize your way through. This is something that you have to sit with for a while, right? Because if the goal is the Ten of Coins and the path needs to change a little bit, but the tides are turning and they're starting to work in your favor, but it also means that you can't really continue down the same path, right? That there do have to be some pretty substantial adjustments that happen. Now, through the month of August, we have Mars moving into Libra. And when we have Libran activation, those scales really start to do their, coming into equilibrium thing, which means that if scales are kind of askew like this, things kind of need to start moving back to center. And that means, deprioritizing certain things, or taking resources or funds away from one thing and putting them into another. Giving time and energy and attention into new things, new projects, or whatever. But, the adjustments have to be made, and you have to be very careful about which path you do choose to take. because you can still choose the same path that you've been on because it's comfortable and it's familiar and you understand it, but you're never going to get any results. You're not going to get the 10 of coins results. Otherwise, you would have the 10 of coins results already. So understanding that the path that you're on is only ever going to get you what you've ever gotten. And it means things have to pivot. Things have to shift. And you have a moment of alignment happening here in August, especially in the beginning of August, where I think you're being guided so beautifully in this manner. Okay? But it also means that there are some things that are either beyond your control, things that have to die off. And I think there's still a lot of fuzziness in terms of how things are really going to work out. Let's start with the 10 of Swords, though, because the 10 of Swords really speaks to a final point. Something is dead and gone, and I think it probably speaks to a path more than anything, but it could mean a relationship, it could mean an investment that you have, it could mean a project, whatever. But it's been beaten to death, and there's really nothing more that you can get out of this. And I think that's going to be one of the hardest things to contend with, is accepting that, yeah, this is done. This is done. This is gone. Look, Jupiter in the 8th house, it's beautiful because it's exalted, but the 8th house is a challenging house because it's a house of elimination and death. Now, there's other things that go on in here in terms of money and shared resources and insurance and inheritance and taxes and all sorts of more real world things. But I think in a more kind of spiritual growth or personal development sense, this is a time where we have to purge and say, okay, that's not for me. That has to go. That has to be eliminated. We need to get rid of this. It's all about getting rid and clearing the path. Because when you're done with this Jupiter in the 8th house, you're going to realize next year that things that you had going on were just in the way. And this is your time to get those things out of the way, so that the things that work, the things that are going to get you to the 10 of coins, has a clear path and a clear trajectory, so that when Jupiter comes into Leo in 2026, which is going to be very positive for you, Sagittarius, when that happens, you can fully breathe and expand in the way that you're meant to. So this is a period of purge for Sagittarius, okay? And with the 7 of Cups, I think there are going to be things that you really don't understand, and you're going to have to just accept that there is going to be some element of confusion around all of this. Now, there's no confusion around the vision. I need to be very clear about that. I know that you know what you want in your life. And I also know that you can feel that the tide is turning a little bit. And I do sense that a sense of possibility is building and getting stronger. And as you make adjustments, you have a perception of control. You have a perception of utilizing your free will, but you still don't know all the mysterious things that the universe is going to present to you. And I don't know that you're never going to really be able to preempt this or to predict at this point, no matter how intuitive you are. There are going to be some surprises. And right now, I think you need to be a little bit more unavailable to the things that are not screaming out like absolutely yes. Right? If something is not 100% yes aligned with the vision, it's got to go, 10 of Swords. And that can be hard because the 10 of Swords, sometimes it means walking away from something that you really never thought you'd walk away from. Sometimes it means taking a completely different course of action than you ever suspected you would need to take. And I think there can be a period of disappointment there and a period of sadness, but also I think it'll feel like relief too. A pretty substantial period of relief, which you deserve. You deserve to feel that relief from the things that are holding you back from the 10 of coins, because that is the point of all of this, is to get you to where you want to be, to where your soul is calling you to be. Okay, let's pull out some more cards. Hold on, I'm not ready yet. Let's shuffle those a little bit more. Not ready to take those yet. We need a little bit more of a shuffle here. What else for Sagittarius? What else does Sagittarius need to know for August 2025? Let's see. Three of Swords. Six of Cups. Sagittarius card, the Temperance card, with the Knight of Coins and King of Wands. Okay, so I really like Temperance with the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, these are the two major arcana that we're getting in the reading, and that means they stand out. They kind of trump all the other energies here. So the Temperance really brings an energy of peace, right? Where there's kind of a peace of the unknown, peace toward the unknown anyway. There's also a stoicism, a discipline, an alchemization that's happening, you know, where you are maybe taking the energy that was being directed toward things that weren't really working and redirecting them in new ways, right? Toward, in a new, pouring into a new cup type of thing. This does not really seem like all that emotional of an experience. It seems logical. And I think Sagittarius right now, you're in a highly logical state of mind. One thing I really love about Mercury being in Leo, now keeping in mind that we start August with Mercury retrograde. He'll officially station direct on the 11th. So for the first week and a half, he's still going to be retrograding. Okay? And then he'll move direct throughout the rest of the month, and he'll stay in Leo for the whole of August. Okay? But a Mercury in Leo does tend to be highly futuristic, right? Where it thinks about where we're going, what next year will bring. It's always about next. It's never about the past. It's never about dwelling on anything, right? So that's one thing I like about the energy here, is that because it is so focused on what comes next, there's not really a threat that the past is going to hold you back. Now, I'm not saying there's not past connection, because we have a little bit going on here with the Six of Cups and the Three of Swords, but I think you ultimately decide at a certain point throughout the month of August, probably as we enter Virgo seasons, probably around that time, like late August, like around the 22nd, the new moon on the 23rd, that's probably going to be the time when you step back and say, okay, let's just focus on my future, focus on the tasks at hand, focus on the vision. Okay, because the fact that you are in a place of kind of an unknown or a lot of question marks here might leave you feeling a bit unnerved. Okay, and I see that's what the Three of Swords is kind of all about. That it's maybe reminiscent of a time when things didn't work out and you're afraid of repetition. You're afraid of things happening again. And I think you don't want to repeat patterns. You don't want to go backwards. Again, so much future focus right now. You just want to go forward. But there's still this pattern, this disappointment, this betrayal, this whatever it is that just kind of keeps stinging a little bit. And I think the unknowns kind of bring up the worry that this may happen again. Although I think what's happening is that there's actually a cleansing that's going on, which is why it is surfacing. And I think Saturn and Neptune are playing a huge role in this. Okay? Saturn and Neptune doing a lot of work right now to help us to clear these patterns. And I think there's a lot coming up for us. There's a lot of our fears, a lot of our self-sabotaging behavior, just any pattern that we have. It's going to show up when we start redirecting. It's going to show up. And it's going to show up when we don't have control and when we don't really see things all that well. It's going to show up when we feel like we have to start letting things go. because there was a reason we were clinging on to them in the first place. We were clinging on to them because it probably was helping to distract us from this to begin with. So now we get rid of the distractions and now we have to face this. But it's not to dwell in it. It's not to indulge. It's not to bring back the pain. It's to realize how far you've come and to realize how self-aware you are and how conscious you can start making decisions and utilizing your free will. And with the Six of Cups, now there is a past connection there, meaning there might be someone from the past or a situation that is reminiscent of something in the past. But again, I think you look onto this with a lot of love. You look onto it with a sense of appreciation and gratitude that maybe you never really had for it before. Because it's this moment that you realize how much you have grown. Because in the past, when this happened, you probably would have spiraled, or you would have reacted out, or you would have done this or done that, or whatever. But this time it comes up and you sit with it. This time it comes up and you say, I'd rather not feel that right now. I'd rather not think that right now. I'd rather be doing something more productive. And you take that energy and you channel it. And that's where the temperance comes in. Temperance is very much about channeling and converting. Okay? And that's why it's very stoic. It's just like, here's this, but I want it to be that. So let's just pull it over from here and move it over there. Right? That's very just black and white. It's not, like I say, there's nothing emotional coming through here. Even the Knight of Coins is not very emotional either. This is highly task-oriented. And I like that he's coming out with the King of Wands, because the King of Wands is saying, yes, you've got your vision. Your vision is clear. There's no doubt about that. I have no doubt that if I were sitting face-to-face with you right now, Sagittarius, and I asked you, what do you want in life? You would be able to describe exactly what you want. What do you want your schedule to look like? What do you want your bank account to look like? What do you want your relationship, your health, your sense of freedom, all these things, your relationship with the community, whatever. What would that look like in an ideal world? I know you know exactly what that is. So the Knight of Coins is kind of like a brick by brick quality. Understanding that things need to be built brick by brick. And it's just a matter of rolling up your sleeves, getting your hands in the dirt, and building it. It's not a complicated process, really. And sometimes we go through moments like this and we're like, I don't know why I waited so long. I don't know why I pushed it off so long. I don't know why I avoided it for so long. I don't know why I distracted myself for so long. Because we realize how much of a blockage that really was. But a Knight of Coins does not avoid. A Knight of Coins does not deny. It just says, this is the pile of work in front of me. Let's get started. And there's no procrastination. There is no waiting for someone else to do it. It's literally just rolling up your sleeves and doing it. And it's not even very laborious. It's not all this labor. It's just the things that need to be done. It's like the 15-minute task that you've been putting off for like 2 years. It's like that bag that you want to donate, that bag of clothes or that bag of whatever, that you would clean out your closet and you want to donate somewhere, and it sits in the back of your car for weeks, or months or whatever. And then you finally like, okay, I'm going to go do it. And it literally takes 5 minutes. You're like, I don't know why I put it off so long. I don't know why I did that. I was so dumb. I shouldn't have done that. There was probably a reason, and maybe you'll understand that reason at some point in the future. I don't know that you need to spend time right now really trying to figure stuff out. Like, you don't need to figure anything out. You don't need to understand why or understand the lesson. All that will come in time. All you need to know is that you just have to redirect the energy right now. And when the stuff comes up, you just sit with it and then you move on. And it's so uncomplicated. It is so uncomplicated and so simple, but I think only the most self-aware are going to be able to do it. Okay? Let's pull out the oracles, starting with the animal spirit. What does Sagittarius need to know? Okay, we've got this one I saw, which says, trust in the magic, with the white raven. And I love that, especially even with the Seven of Cups, because that's really your only choice. You have to just trust right now. The universe is putting you in a position where you can't see all that well. And you don't have control, right? Saturn, Neptune, you don't have control. But I also think there's radical change happening as well. And while you may not perceive this decision making at the beginning here as being radical change, because it's just like a small adjustment, I promise you it is radical change. That's Uranus. Uranus opposite of you, you're going to feel that. Okay, what does the Moonology card have to say for Sagittarius? What is it that you have to say? We have the answers you need are coming. Yeah, please do not search for the answers right now. It is so not worth your time. It is not worth it. Right now, Sagittarius, your only job is to have faith that your intuition is going to guide you to the next step. And that's it. Your intuition is going to guide you to the next step toward the 10 of coins. But you have to kind of keep your mind focused on where you're going, where you're going, where you're going. And when you have this little bout of past whatever, it is not meant for you to dwell here. This is not about dwelling at all. This is about maybe acknowledging, but immediately transmuting. Okay? So, for the clarifiers. Now, for those of you who are new, the second half of this reading will be covered in the comprehensive reading, and we're going to pull out like 30 new cards. We're going to open up every single one of these and get a lot deeper into each of them so we can better understand what they're trying to say. And we're going to cover that in the comprehensive. The link will be in the description box in the comment thread down below if you feel like joining. So let's see, Sagittarius, what do you need to know about the Wheel of Fortune here? 3 of Wands, 10 of Swords, and Strength. More elimination there in the beginning. We have a Queen of Coins, a 4 of Cups, and last but not least, a 10 of Wands. Ooh, 10 of Coins and 10 of Cups. Beautiful, love that. With a Knight of Cups. And the Moon kind of adding to trusting the magic here, that White Raven. We have Page of Coins, another 3 of Swords, and an Empress. The Sun, Page, and an Ace of Coins. Now for the 3 of Swords, 7 of Wands, King of Cups, 2 of Wands, another 6 of Cups. We're going to pull 3 more since we got a repeat. Hermit, Queen of Cups, Chariot. Beautiful. With the Temperance card, we have the 6 of Coins, 8 of Coins, and an Emperor. See, very unemotional. I told you, it's very unemotional. It's all practical. You're going to be operating in your practical mind right now. Queen of Wands, 5 of Wands, and 8 of Swords. The word tackle is coming to my mind for that. We have the Lovers, Ace of Swords, and a 4 of Swords. Beautiful. All right, Sagittarius. So this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So if you want to join, you are more than welcome. Thank you all so much. I truly hope you have an amazing August, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.